How's it, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new show here on Loose Cannons TV. I am the Bearded Gooner, joined today by my co-defendant, Ars Bros Ryan, our good friend, the man whose wallet knows no bounds, 3-point sniper Jackson down in South Carolina. The new show, ladies and gents, is called EPL Pitch Picks. We are here to try to make Yins some cash money. That's what we're here for. It's a betting show. We're going to get into some lines, some odds, make some picks. We've got some futures picks for you today. Today's show will be kind of a one-off. It's the first time we're doing this. We'll see how things go. We'll adjust and adapt as the weeks go by. But it will be a weekly show. We'll be here every week, every Thursday, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. 4 p.m. Eastern Time, a little early start today, simply because it's a bigger show. We're doing some futures picks. The pilot episode, we'll introduce ourselves and get some things going from that standpoint. But and then we'll get into making all the picks. So I guess I'll kick it off. Since I'm hosting, I'm the Bearded Gooner. You guys can follow me on Twitter/X at DA Bearded Gooner. Also on Instagram, the Bearded Gooner as well there. That's about it for me. I think most of you that follow me probably know who I am, what I'm about. And that's about it. I will be the asshole that chimes in with a pick or some banter here and there to set these guys straight, or just say, hey, you know what? A football gerbil told me that this was going to happen this weekend. So I'm gonna make that pick. But the other two guys are a lot smarter about this than I am. So I'm gonna ship it down to Jackson. Introduce yourself. Tell the people a little bit about you and what you're looking for in a first date.
Yeah, how's it going, guys? My alias is 3-point sniper, as you can see below. I have that alias on Twitter, and it is a betting alias. So some of you at the show today are familiar with me from there. I gamble on college basketball. I blog about college basketball. I write about college basketball. I'm in the US BWA, and I'm also a soccer fan. So I decided to use a lot of the principles that I use on that account and try to marry them with soccer. And I've been a big fan of Ryan and BG from their Loose Cannons podcast. And Ryan and I kind of had the idea to maybe do a pick show. And so that's why we're here today. We're going to be covering the EPL landscape every single week moving forward. And I'm super excited about it, and thank these guys for having me on.
No, man, it's looking forward to it. I know this is your guys' baby, and but you're kind of the driving force here, man. I won't lie to you. You're the guy that I default to if I'm going to make a college basketball pick. So I swear to God, if I default to you on some of these footy picks,
a lot of the same principles you can apply across sports. Soccer's a little different, but we can get into all that later.
Yeah, Ryan.
I have no principles. Barely any morals. What's up to the people that are new here? Ars Bros Ryan. I'm the one guy that has his name in the title. I gambled for quite a while. I found Jackson and have been loving his college basketball insight. Been using it for my own, and I do bet some MMA. I'm big into MMA. But yeah, I'm excited to really dig in for some football, some soccer for the Americans here. I'm as shocked as everyone else is that Jackson is 3-point sniper and it's an alias and the mask is off. And I'm excited to really, shoot the shit and talk about betting principles, value, and learning a thing or two. Because me and Jackson have been doing this for a little bit, but I always defer to Jackson, and I'm excited to learn things and learn with hopefully you guys and make some stuff to buy stuff.
I just have one quick question for Stuart Kennemore. I mean, why would you be watching us naked? would
Why
be
not?
why wouldn't you? Why would so? Is it
Well, a little behind the scenes. I was on the phone with BG. I was naked. So, fun fact.
Yeah, I mean, I have to have a hat and shirt on per YouTube parameters, but it is definitely a no pants stance below the screen. Welcome to Loose Cannons TV, ladies and gents. Just because it's a betting show, we're going to take it a little more seriously. Doesn't mean that we're going to be that much more serious. Anyway, let's get straight into it, shall we? We've got the season kicking off tomorrow. And I thought we would get into some futures picks later in the show, but what we're going to do is move through things chronologically speaking as the matches take place. So first on the docket here is going to be 3-point snipers. Jack, what do you want me to call you? Like either 3PS? I'm calling you 3PS. It's going to be like a C3PO kind of thing.
That's fine.
Mr. Sniper. Mr. Sniper.
Or Mr. Sniper. I do like that.
Can I call you Dr. Sniper?
Doctor. That's true. I like Dr. Sniper.
For those of you that might be a little older and have seen the movie Spies Like Us, Dr. Sniper. I'm going to start with you. You've got something going in the very first game to kick off the brand new EPL season. Manchester United are hosting Fulham at Old Trafford tomorrow. That's a 3 p.m. kickoff Eastern time, 8 p.m. if you are across the pond. But Dr. Sniper, tell me what you got.
Yeah, absolutely. First, I'm going to do a little bit of a lesson in regards to Asian handicapping. Some of you in the chat might not be familiar with it. Some of you may be. But it's essentially betting lines that end in a +25 or a 0.25 or a 0.75 as opposed to like half. And when you bet on a +25, that means half of your bet is on the lower whole number and half of your bet is on the half on top of it. So an example would be if you were betting a -1.25 team, half of your bet is on that team -1, half of it is on -1.5. So the reason I'm giving this instruction is because my first bet is using Asian handicapping. It's going to be under 3.25 goals in the Manchester United and Fulham game tomorrow. That is -130. The reason I like this pick is pretty simple. I'm a lot higher on Manchester United coming into this year than a lot of people are. And I think some of those people might be in the show with me right now. But if you look back to last season, United were just horrific defensively. They averaged allowing 5.34 shots on target per game last year, which is just woeful. But in the preseason, they seem to have fixed this a little bit. They're only allowing 3 shots on target, which is pretty good. And that includes only 1 shot on target by Manchester City in the FA Community Shield. I think that's huge. And I think Ten Hag is finally getting them to, buy into a system. And I think there's a little more cohesion at the back. And I also think they're going to benefit from Kobe Manu being a mainstay in the midfield. Also, there's a lot of buzz around the EPL about the signing of ESR, Emile Smith-Rowe at Fulham. And he scored 2 goals in his first 2 preseason games. So people are super excited about their potential to score this year. And I think that's why we see this number where it is in the market right now. I think people are excited about Fulham's chances to score. I think they're down on Manchester United's defense. And then people are also just going to be pulling for goals in the first game. I think I saw offshore, a lot of the reporting's not out here in the U.S. right now, but offshore, 68% of the handle was on the over. So I'm going to zig while everyone zags, and I'm going to take the under on this one.
I don't hate it. Again, not really sure I know what I'm talking about, but you mentioned my guy, Emile Smith-Rowe in there. I am definitely hoping he bags at least 1 tomorrow. Piss on it. I don't know what the word is for 10, but I hope he scores 10. So I don't think there's a bet out there for that, though. And if it is, it's horrific odds. Moving on, the 7:30 a.m. window on Saturday has Ipswich Town, newly promoted. For those of you who have seen Running Scared, Ipswich Clams. Everybody knows what Ipswich Clams are. So Ipswich Town hosting Liverpool. Nothing like getting welcomed to the Premier League for the first time after like 25 years or something crazy. The last time Ipswich were up, but yeah, welcome to it. You get one of the biggest clubs in the world coming to your home ground. Jackson, you've got one on this one too. Talk to us.
I do. My pick in this game is going to be Liverpool -1.5, and you can get that right now at -120. I think this is going to be a really big season for Liverpool. I kind of view it as a little bit of a last dance Bulls season for them. There's going to be questions about Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, all of these guys at the end of the year. You know, some of them, maybe all of them, move on from the club. And I think that they've got a lot of cohesion and, you know, a lot of titles under their belt, and they're going to give it one last good go. And I think they clearly are the third most talented team in the league. So I think there's a big season ahead. They're also the most impressive team of the preseason for me. I watched several of their games. They went undefeated. They even beat Arsenal. So I think that, you know, they've already bought into Arne Slot's system. The fans love him. The players love him. I think they're going to come out and put a big number on Ipswich in the opening game.
The only thing I would say is, and not to be argumentative, I looked at it myself. I was actually, I don't know that they're going to put a big number up. I just feel like it's the beginning of the season for some reason. I'm a little down on Liverpool scoring, but only because it's the beginning of the season. But I don't disagree with anything else that you said there.
Preseason though, they look pretty good.
Oh, they sure did. They sure did. Again, it's just kind of one of those for me. And this is just a gut thing. There's no statistic to back it up as much as it is just beginning of the season, newly promoted club, kind of like, is there a letdown right out of the gate for Liverpool? But I you know, if they put up the big crooked number, am I surprised? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So we've got one.
Quick thing, DJ. Everybody in the chat, I want you to type in the chat your favorite pick of the week that you are taking for yourself. And at the end of the show, we've got a little surprise for you about how you're going to be involved in this show moving forward throughout the season. So in the chat, put your favorite pick. Try to make it -200 or lower just for the sake of competition. And again, only one pick. All right. Back to you, BG.
All good, man. Ryan, I'm going to kick it up to you in the 10 o'clock window. Little London derby action. The Bees of Brentford at the G-Tech Community Stadium hosting one of my, how do I want to put this, like darling clubs of the EPL. There's a soft spot in my heart for the Eagles of Crystal Palace. Maybe it's because they're Rebecca Lowe's favorite club. I don't know. I do love me some Rebecca Lowe. But you've got one for Brentford and Crystal Palace. Talk to us.
Yeah, so I have Brentford over 1.5 goals. I'm not going to try to talk for 5 minutes like I normally do, nor am I going to have as much insight as Jackson, who is has, I probably would say, like 200 more IQ points than I do. But it's just simple here. Brentford have never lost an opening game in the Premier League. Granted, they played 4, but undefeated nonetheless. And their last 3 seasons, they have beat Arsenal 2-0. They've drew to Leicester City 2-2, and they drew to Tottenham 2-2. Over 1.5, and it's plus money, plus 110. I mean, I just love it, and just they've signed 2 strikers in a 5-year Carvalho from Fulham and Thiago Rodriguez from Club Brugge for over $30 million American, of course. And I just think that they haven't really changed much, and I think Thomas Frank is going to get this team motivated. Brentford always start the season off, playing quick, fast, and good football. And Palace just lost their best player in Olise, and Ize's looking, maybe he might be still leaving. We don't know yet. But yeah, I think plus money. I think this is just a great pick.
I like it. I had no idea about Olise. I don't know. Do you want to throw that out there just as a little tidbit of information for people? Probably a good thing to know what happened. And if not, just tell me, because I'm curious. I didn't hear what happened.
He is now a Bayern Munich player.
Whoa. How did I miss that?
Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago. He is, yeah.
Did you not hear
I heard a rumor a couple of weeks ago. It went through.
No, he and a little funny. bore you too much, but he had a press conference today, and they asked like how he's going to adapt to the Bundesliga, and he essentially said, I don't know. So he's off to a good start in Germany.
Sounds like it.
But yeah, so I really.
Does that mean that Musiala might be available for purchase now by the Red Football Club in North London, the Arsenal? Moving on, we've got another. Well, we've got a lot in the 10 o'clock window tomorrow.
Big
Ryan,
window.
I'll leave it with you. Bournemouth and now it escapes me who they're playing tomorrow. Southampton? No. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest. You've got a pick there. What do you have to say on that?
2 relegated teams. Ooh, spoiler alert for later. Yes. So Bournemouth. I do have some stats for the Bournemouth. So I have a race to 5 corners. Bournemouth. So essentially, it's just the first team to get 5 corners. Simple. It's a race, and I have picked Bournemouth. Bournemouth were 4th in the Premier League last season in corners at 6.18.
There's a spot.
Yeah, I got another one for you. Forest were 19th in corners at 3.89 last season on average. Yeah, so I mean I saw that, and also they both played each other last season twice. Obviously, it was 6-6 and 11-6 in favor of Bournemouth as far as corners go.
Okay.
I just think Bournemouth are going to start off quick. Not having Solanke, it looks like they're going to sign. I want to say Evan Nielsen, but Evangelison. I can never say his name. Evan Nielsen. Yeah, so I had it right. They signed him for a lot of money. It was like I think it's $42, 42 million euros, not American. But yeah, I really think they're going to come out swinging. They have a really good midfield, very underrated midfield, and yeah, I mean, 4th place in corners is for a team that wasn't when they didn't finish top 8. So I think this is a good pick, and I got that at plus money again. I'm a plus money kind of guy. I got it at plus 135 too. So I was like, you know what? I think Nottingham Forest is going to struggle to get it together, much less stay in this league.
Jackson, staying in the 10 o'clock window, you've got something for us on Newcastle and Southampton up in the northeast of the country. What you got?
I do. I think Newcastle is in for a big season. I know Ryan's going to touch on that in a little bit. But this team just dealt with a lot of injuries last year, and the stress of playing Champions League football, I think, really got to them. But I think they're all back and healthy now, and they don't have the stress of European football this season. And I think they're going to be able to put a big focus on the EPL like they did 2 years ago. And a lot of people forget, but they actually had the best defense in the league 2 seasons ago in regards to goals allowed. Like they brick wall back there, and they have basically the same pieces. So I think with the health and, a refreshed season, I think we go back to seeing them being one of the better defensive teams in the league. And this game's also at St. James Park. So it's a fortress. I think it's the best atmosphere in the league, honestly. I hate to say that, but I really think it is. So my bet in this game is no on both teams to score, and that is plus 120. I think the likelihood of Southampton getting shut out in this match is pretty likely. But the reason why I'm not taking Southampton under a half a goal at plus 135 is there's not a huge difference in the odds. And you never know, man. It's the first game of the season. Southampton, Newcastle could have a million chances and not score for a while. And then Southampton nick one in the 70th and then put everybody behind the ball and try to get out of there 1-0. So my bet is going to be both teams to score no, and that's plus 120.
I like it. Nice. All very good information. Ryan, I'm going to kick it back over to you here. We move to the 12:30 spot on Saturday, 12:30 Eastern time on Saturday, and you've got something for us on West Ham and Aston Villa.
I just want to keep this pick simple. I just think Villa are the better team. I think West Ham are going through a few changes. They're kind of changing systems. They're kind of going away from Mikel Antonio. They have Fulkrug, who I not Premier League proven. Don't know how he's gonna do. New manager as well. So for me, it's Villa draw no bet. So essentially, Villa win, we win. It's a draw. We get a push. I didn't want to lay the extra juice for the outright money line. And also, West Ham have the most losses in opening day. I have a lot of opening day stats. I feel like West Ham have the most losses.
That's a great stat right there.
Opening day. So I'm like, you know what? We're doing it. Villa draw no bet, and I got that at -105.
Sticking with the action at the London Stadium, Jackson, you've got one as well. What you got?
I do. I have first half draw at +125 in the West Ham Aston Villa game. I don't think there's going to be, a huge difference in these sides in the first half. I think there's going to be a lot of adjustments at halftime, and that's where you can see a second half goal being the difference maker. And I kind of agree with Ryan's assessment on who that might be. But I do think the first half they come out and fill each other out for the majority of it. And I don't think there's going to be a ton of great chances, to be honest with you. I really love what Aston Villa has at the back with Konsa and Torres and Emi Martinez at the keeper. And, I think West Ham, being at home, they're going to be able to fight back a little bit in the first half. So I got a first half draw, and that is +125.
Nice one. All good info on that match for both of you guys. Thank you for that. Just a quick little tidbit. If any of you are wondering why I am not making any picks, it's because I am just not as versed in this stuff as what these guys are. I watch the matches. I enjoy them. I'm an eye test guy. For those of you that might be wondering, I don't get into the deep dive on stats to be able to hand you a lot of good information the way these guys are doing. And let's face it, the reason I'm here is for the pretty face. I mean, you've got the brains and the brawn with these two guys, but you need the beauty, and that's where I come in.
I would say you have the most difficult job here, as you have to keep us two in line. I think keeping us.
You guys are doing a great job so far.
No, I know, but I think you have a tough enough job keeping us on the straight and narrow. So
I mean, so far we haven't really gotten into any. Are you crazy with that bet or what?
I'm trying to be on my best behavior. I'm trying my best.
I think we're gonna get there with my pick coming up in a little bit. I think you might do that to me, but we'll see.
I'm not. No. We're gonna get to it in a minute, and that's a good tease. And I'm gonna tease it a little bit more, but I'm not gonna banter you for the pick itself because I agree with it. It's more the fact that you're making the pick. That's the only issue that I have with it. But so that is, I'm gonna throw up a graphic here real quick for you guys, just so you can see what these guys are doing. Well, actually, no, I won't do that because we'll give away picks of the week. So, Jackson, do you want to take over and kind of explain? Is this a good spot to tell the folks what we're doing with picks of the week before we get into futures? Or go for it. Go for it. It's all yours.
So, this is the moment where the chat is going to be involved, and that's why we've been teasing it on Twitter. And I said at the beginning of the show, we really want this to be interactive, and we're going to make a little bet with you guys. So the bet is going to be between us three on the show and then you as one individual to chat. And we're going to have a points table based on a pick of the week. So every week, BG, Ryan, and I will give our pick of the week. And then I'm also compiling all of the picks that you're putting in the chat, and I'm going to throw them in a random generator, and whatever the generator picks is going to be the chat's pick of the week. And we're going to do a table style scoring for this. So if you win the bet, you get 3 points. If you push the bet, it's a draw. And if you lose the bet, it's 0. And the prize for this is going to be a kit of your choice based on the winner. So if BG wins, then Ryan and I will pitch in and get him a kit. But if the chat wins, then the three of us will pitch in and buy one random chat member a kit. So it is important for you to put your, favorite pick in the chat, because you never know when the generator will select you, and hopefully you guys rack up the wins and try to beat us.
For clarification purposes, it will be a current season kit. It will not be anything retro. We're not spending $800 on,
Correct.
like as much as I will come to love all of you.
I'm out. My kid's out. It's fine.
Ryan, you've been out for like 3 years. We've known this. Sorry, that was uncalled for. I should have said. Let's get into introduction into picks of the week. And this makes it fun, right? Little chat interaction, nice little friendly. What's the word I'm looking for? I just totally lost my train of thought here. Friendly bet. Wager. Wager. Friendly wager with all of you guys. So it should be a lot of fun. We'll keep track of that for you here on our end, and
So we will put out the chat's pick at the end of this show, and then I'll also tweet it out. And then, every show moving forward, we'll have a points table, and you can see where you guys are stacking up.
Did we mention the show's Twitter handle? Have we done that yet?
You could do that right now.
If you go on X, ladies and gentlemen, or Twitter, whatever you prefer to call it, we are at EPL Pitch Picks. Just title of the show with that little A in the kind of just barely closed circle. At EPL Pitch Picks. You can also follow Loose Cannons AFC. That is the channel. Twitter handle or X handle, if you will. And these two both have their Twitter handles in the on their pictures here in their pictures in their boxes. So I'll put mine up here in a minute as soon as I'm done talking. I can't multitask. See, I need my hands to talk. But yeah, let's get into it, fellas. Let's get into our picks of the week. I guess I will. You guys want me to go first? You want me to go last?
Go ahead.
All right.
Rock
so
it out,
I gotta bring it up because I kind of don't even remember what it was. Oh, I do remember what it was. My pick of the week, going back to Brentford and Crystal Palace, little London derby. I have both teams to score yes at minus 180. Brentford will score. I just don't think that either.
They're scoring two. We know that already.
Yeah, I just don't think that either team, especially at this point in the season, are strong enough to keep a clean sheet against the other. No Elise for Crystal Palace will certainly make things a little bit more interesting for them. But I do think there's enough there for Crystal Palace. I think Crystal Palace are going to finish in the top 10 this year. And again, I don't necessarily have any statistics to back it up for you. I don't even know his name. Who's their head coach? Do you know his name off the top of your head? Whoever it is that came in. No, that's Thomas Frank. Palace, the guy that came in and replaced Roy Hodgson.
Glasner. Yeah.
Glasner.
Rick. His name.
He did a tremendous job with them at the end of last season after he took over for Roy Hodgson. And
I'm worried about the departures, though. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
And I mean, if Gahey goes to Newcastle, Elise's already gone. As he could be on his way out the door. So seeing how things go there, that may change my tune as far as a future pick goes, although I don't have them as a future pick. But I think just this game, first game of the season, don't really know what to expect. So kind of a pun fully intended here, but all bets are kind of off, if you will, or maybe all bets are on. As far as what's going to happen in the first week of the season, I really think it's a crapshoot with this. But I do believe that both teams will score in that game. So I have Brentford and Crystal Palace, both teams to score yes, and that's coming in at a minus 180. Ryan, I'll throw it to you for your pick of the week, sir.
Yeah, I mean, much like my Villa pick, I saw it at minus 120. I jumped on it, and that's Man City money line. They're playing a Chelsea team. Again, just not prepared. New manager. They signed all these players. We don't know who's going to play. We don't know their formation. They don't even have a shirt sponsor. The second year in a row, they do not have a shirt sponsor. This team is not prepared. Man City are the second best team in the Premier League. They won the whole thing last year. So to me, seeing this minus 120, I'm jumping all over it. Man City money line. Let's go.
No, let's not go.
No, let's go. It's pick of the week. We're going.
No,
we're going.
I'm kidding. No,
I mean, behind closed doors, am I, am I like, oh man, I lost the pick of the week? Oh man, City dropped points. I mean, I don't know, but that's again, behind closed doors. I'm not saying this out loud to anyone else, but
playing without shirts. Stuart Kennemore's watching naked, so we're just the we're the show of the skins, I guess, right? Shirts versus skins. Anyway, Jackson, what you got? Pick of the week, buddy.
Yeah, so actually going to do another lesson in regards to analytics in case some of you don't understand the terminology. I want to make sure you do. A lot of the year, you'll hear Ryan and I using the stat XG and XGA, and that stands for expected goals and expected goals allowed. And if you follow my work on the 3-Point Sniper account, you'll see me reference shot quality a lot. Basically the shot quality score in basketball, it grades your shot, whether you're open, where you shot it from, the opportunity to score. And that's kind of what XG and XGA are. It's a better way to understand how great of opportunities teams are getting and how much they're allowing also. So jumping into my pick of the week, it is going to be Wolverhampton under half a goal at -135. And the reason for that is due to the stat XG. So the last two seasons,
or to raise my blood pressure, because it's going to do that too.
Mine as well.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to be a few beers deep, so that'll be fine. But the last 2 years, when Arsenal have hit this peak in form, when we've been at our best, Arsenal is 4-0 against Wolverhampton. 4-0, 2 doubles on them. And if you go back and look, Wolverhampton has only scored 1 goal in those 4 games. And what makes matters worse for them are their XG numbers. They're not even producing opportunities to score goals. So 2 years ago, in the first game, they had an expected goals of 0.23. And then the next game, it was 0.85. That was the game that actually found a late goal. And then last year was 0.49 and 0.69. So they're not even averaging an expected goal in any of these games that we've played against them. I shouldn't say we, sorry. Arsenal has played against them. And then if you look in Arsenal's preseason, once Saliba came back and got implemented back into the lineup, the defense has just picked up right where it left off. 0 goals in the games against Bayer Leverkusen and Lyon when Saliba is featured. And honestly, Leverkusen played their starters and they didn't even record a shot. Not just a shot on target, not even a shot until the 41st minute of that match. I think Arsenal is going to be, ready to go for this one, make a statement. Wolverhampton lost Neto to Chelsea. Their attack is just not good at all. And, Arteta just has their number. So that's my best bet. Under half a goal for Wolverhampton. Arsenal gets the shutout.
So that is Brentford Crystal Palace. Both teams to score at -180. Ryan, you've got the Manchester City money line. The odds on that again were, throw it at me.
-120.
You're at -120. Jackson, I'm not even going to say the words, but you're coming in at -135. So talk to me about adding this all up. What does it mean in terms of our bet with the chat?
Yeah, so we're going to, parlay these together as a pick of the week parlay. You can take it or not. We're not going to, record it as an official pick. But this week, our pick of the week from the 3 of us is +388. And so we'll keep track of that, let you know how it's doing. And hopefully we can hit some of them for you guys.
Absolutely. That's the whole point, right? Whole point here is to try to make a little bit of money and win. Just win, baby. Al Davis said it best, former late owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Just win, baby. We're going to move on here, everyone. And this will be obviously just this week, but we've got some futures picks for you all. Believe we did 6 each, if I'm not mistaken. First thing I think I'm going to do, though, just for the sake of the audience, I'm going to throw up Jackson. Here are Jackson's weekly picks. He's got Manchester United, Fulham, under 3.25 at -130. Liverpool coming in -120 and -1.5. Newcastle, Southampton, both teams to score no at +120 and a first half draw at West Ham. Aston Villa is coming in plus 125. And Dr. Sniper's pick of the week. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say the quiet part out loud.
Say it.
Wolves coming in under half a goal, which basically means Wolves will not score. He's coming in at minus 135 there. Move over to Ryan's picks. He's got Brentford on the over, 1.5 at plus 115. Villa, it's a draw or no bet. Again, if Villa draw, it's at 105. If Villa win, it's at 105. If Villa draw, it's no bet. Is that, I'm explaining that correctly, right?
It's a push. Yeah, it's a push.
It's a push if they draw. And the Bournemouth race to 5 corners is actually that's a fun one. That's a fun one.
That'll get everybody involved. Yeah.
Yeah, that gets everybody involved, man. It gives you a reason to kind of, pay attention to that game, watch that game. Although you won't be watching that game because you'll be watching the Arsenal. Actually, you'll be at work. If I'm not mistaken, won't you be? You'll be catching that on replay.
Yeah.
But it does give a reason to watch the game. And then he's got his pick of the week, the Manchester City money line, coming in at minus 120. We will move on now to futures picks. So what we're picking here, folks, is one team to finish in the top 4, one team to finish in the top 6, one team to finish in the top 10, one team to finish in the relegation zone, one team to finish last in the Golden Boot winner. We do have a few that are the same, and I'm going to go back through my handy dandy little graphics here on my own before I put them up on the screen and just see what we have that we can work out. The only one that you guys both have as the same, and Jackson, I'll throw it to you first. You both have Southampton finishing in last place in the league, 20th position, and you've got it at plus 600. Jackson, talk to me about that.
I do. It's important to note when talking about this last place bet that Leicester City are likely going to be handed a points deduction. So that's why some of these teams near the bottom of the table have higher odds than they normally would. But I think there's tremendous value in betting Southampton to be the last place finisher at plus 600. And the reason for that is just the value that's there. The Leicester point deduction could get kicked down the road, or it could be less than what people are thinking, or they could just outperform the points deduction anyways. And so if you're talking about a team that's getting promoted, we know the statistics, they're likely to go back down. So plus 600 is massive value. And this team also ends with Manchester City and Arsenal in 2 out of their last 3 fixtures. And those are terrible fixtures for a team that's going to be hanging around the relegation zone, especially when City and Arsenal are likely going to be taking it to the final day again, in my opinion. So I think there's a lot of value in taking this team at plus 600 to finish last.
And Ryan, you've got the same thing. Southampton coming in 20th, plus 600. What do you have to add to Jackson?
I mean, yeah, the one thing I was going to stress is just value. Leicester is plus 175, Ipswich is plus 275, and then it's a big jump, and then it's Southampton plus 600. I don't even think Ipswich is going to get relegated. I think it's I don't want to spoil the third team, but I definitely think Leicester and Southampton are going to get relegated. So I'm taking a number here. I think it's a good number. I think exactly what Jackson said. I think playing Arsenal and City when they're already beaten up, and I think they're already going to be kind of hanging down there. I don't know if they'll have much of a chance to even have a chance at staying up in the Premier League. So yeah, I think to me it's just a clear value play.
Oh, I don't like that at all. Sorry, I'm messing around with some graphic stuff. Don't mind me. We'll move on, and now I guess that's the only one that I see that you guys have picked the same. Ryan, I'll leave it with you. Let's start with top 4. What do you got?
So for top 4, I picked Newcastle, and I kind of talked about them a little bit in the show we did, kind of previewing the season. I just think Newcastle haven't really changed much. I think Eddie Howe's going to have these guys ready to play, as all the teams do. But I just think it's kind of just a ragtag bunch of teams kind of fighting for that 4th spot. You have Man U, you have Chelsea, you have Tottenham, you have Villa, who I think is going to struggle with the amount of games. I know a lot of people think Villa is going to retain that fourth place spot. I think they're really going to struggle with the amount of games they have to play, and I don't know if Emery could really handle the new Champions League and the Premier League. But yeah, I really like this Newcastle team, and especially with the PGMOL coming out with new rules that they're kind of take away added time, which plays right into Newcastle's corner. Newcastle are, for a few seasons now, they lead the league in, I don't know how to really word this, but the ball is on the pitch for the least amount of time in a game. They are in first. They're somewhere in between 50 and 60 minutes. So yeah, I think they're going to benefit the most from this new rule change, having less time. They're going to time waste more. And yeah, at plus 200, I have Newcastle finishing in that fourth spot.
Jackson, top four. Possibly no real surprise here, but talk to us. What do you got?
Yeah, when I was building out my futures portfolio, I took some, higher odds shots in some other places. So I wanted to make sure that, I had at least one future where I felt that it was like a best bet of my futures per se. And that is Liverpool to finish top four at minus 190. I know there's juice there, but it's warranted. It's a lot of the same stuff I said before. They're the most impressive team of the preseason to me. It could be the last hurrah for their core group of title winners. And like I said earlier, I think they're clearly the third best team. I don't even think that they're going to have to, battle it out with whoever's going to come in fourth or even fifth to even slide out of the top four. So I think this is a great bet. And even though it's at minus 190 and juiced odds, I still think there's value there.
For sure. That's as much as I hate to say, one of the easier bets to make, and it absolutely makes sense as to why you're making that pick. Moving on, but staying within European football qualification, Jackson, I'll leave it with you. We'll just kind of snake around here. But your top six.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Aston Villa at plus 145. We all know that this team had a phenomenal season a year ago, finished top four, one of the best seasons they've had in recent memory, maybe, in a long, long, long time. They did lose Douglas Luiz out of their midfield, but I think the signing of Onana is going under the radar. There are a lot of rumors for months and months that Arsenal was really keen on bringing him in to being in the midfield. So I'll watch a lot of his matches. And while I wasn't initially sold in the beginning, the more I watched him, the more I warmed up to him. And I was, warming up to the idea of him being an Arsenal player. So I think that he could fit in pretty well with that Villa system. And I also really like it's not talked about enough, the signing of Ian Maatsen, the kid who was at Chelsea that went on loan and had a great season for Dortmund. I think that he'll slot in and help that defense, which I spoke on earlier, is fantastic with Konsa and Torres and Emi Martinez, who's arguably, one of the best keepers in the league. And then another note, Buendia. I don't know if you guys remember him or not. He was the guy out of Norwich who was, a pretty good player. And I think he tore his ACL like the week before the season started last year. I don't even think he got a minute. So that's basically another new signing for them as well. That'll help the attack. And we know Ollie Watkins has the goals. I know this team's up against Champions League football, and they're not used to that. So that's why I wouldn't make the leap to say that they could finish top four again. But I think that they have the quality and the manager to finish top six.
I like it. I actually predicted, not an official pick, but I did predict that Villa would stay in the top four. And just because it's probably going to be the last time that I get to say this, but I predicted correctly last season that Aston Villa would finish in fourth position. So I'm just going to keep keep beating that drum. Listen, I don't
chat, guys.
What's that?
I told the chat to give you some W's.
I'm not right. I'm not right on much, but I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one. Ryan, what do you got? What do you have for another top six finish?
So I have West Ham. I know this is very contradicting myself with my pick earlier. But yeah, I do think West Ham is going to kind of pick it up, and their last two games are Forest and Ipswich. And I just think they made signings to make them play long-term better football. Fulkrug, I think, is not Premier League proven, but he could score goals. And I think, especially coming off the bench for the German national team and really helping them out in the Euros, and he kind of helped out a little bit at the World Cup. I really like Fulkrug. I think he's a good guy to bring maybe off the bench when defenses are more tired, and he just has a knack for putting it in the net. Max Kilman, former center back of the Wolves, still young. He's 27, and they paid a lot of money for him. And I think he's a really good defender, and he helped out with this Wolves defense. That was, Wolves weren't that great for a while. People were talking about them getting relegated, but their defense kind of always kept them in games and kind of hung them around. The player from Leeds that, they're in the championship now, but when they were in the Premier League, Somerville, he was the kid to look out for. He was on everyone's, transfer list, and everyone was inquiring about him. He's now a West Ham player. I'm really excited to see him back in the Premier League because he was starting some heads towards the end of the season for the Premier League. And also, lastly, I know he didn't have the best time at Man United, but West Ham got Wan-Bissaka, Aaron Wan-Bissaka of Crystal Palace as well. He's a great fullback going forward, and I think that's something that they kind of lacked, was building up from the back and kind of playing on the wings and making those moves, because that was something Bowen was really good at, and Bowen ended up having to play striker a little bit, kind of move their formation around a lot. I think this kind of structurally makes them a better football team, and if they could just not. West Ham are known to go into slumps here and there. They're kind of a roller coaster team. They could just kind of avoid that. I think they're a really good team at plus 600 to make the top 6. I mean, give me that number all day long.
That's a good point on Wan-Bissaka. I agree with that.
Yeah, for sure. That's a big one. We'll keep it going. I guess let's top 10. We need a top 10 pick from you, Ryan. So I'll leave it with you.
So top 10. Sort of kind of a homer pick, but this team finished 10th last year. So I Fulham at plus 300. I really like the additions they made. I'm a big admirer of Emile Smith-Rowe. It's Arsenal Junior. They got Leno, they got Iwobi, a lot of players that used to play for the Arsenal, and the Arsenal are one of the best teams in the league. They're going to be the best team this year, but having that team around them, that their defense sometimes. You have kind of an addition by subtraction. And while I think Tim Ream is a great player, and he was definitely, as far as a Fulham supporter and a Fulham team is concerned, yeah, he might be a legend. But I do think he made a lot of big errors for them that kind of led them to dropping points in a lot of games last season. Now they don't have to worry about that too much. But I really like their attack going forward. They're very dynamic. They can come at you from the wings. They can come at you from the middle. And this is going to be a fun team to watch. So yeah, plus 300, top 10. Let's go.
All great stuff. Jackson, top 10.
My top 10 pick is Brighton at even odds. I know this team had a pretty dreadful second half last year with all of the drama that was going on with the Zerbi. That was super weird because I thought they had a really good thing going, but for whatever reason, that spiraled out of control. But I think there's a lot of talent there to contend into the top half again this year. I also like, all of the reports and articles that I've seen on the new manager, Fabian Hürzeler, who took St. Pauli into a promotion spot. They're going to be into the Bundesliga this year. He's only 31 years old, but he plays a really exciting style of football, and I think that fits a lot of the pieces that Brighton have. With João Pedro, Matoma, and then they'll have Ferguson and Enciso coming back from injury at some point too. So I think they're going to score a lot of goals this season, and I actually think that their defense could be even better than it was a year ago. I think Dunk and Veltman are really good defenders, and then they'll have a Stupinian coming back, I believe, late September. So I think they'll have enough to finish in the top half of the table. They did so the 2 years prior to last year. I think they'll be there again. And at even odds, I think this is a pretty good bet to finish top 10.
For sure. We'll get to, I guess we'll move into the last part of the negativity section of the show. But Dr. Sniper, who do you have fighting relegation? Well, no, who do you have in the relegation zone?
So this pick may surprise some people. I actually have Wolves as being a relegation team this year at plus 340. This has been a team that's been in the league that's been competitive for many, many years, produced great talent, and they're basically just a mainstay in the Premier League. Like, you're just used to seeing Wolves. But I think this could be the year that they go down. And a big reason is I'm not a big believer in Gary O'Neill. I don't think he's a good manager. If you look in the second half of last season, Wolves only won one game out of their last 10 league matches. Only one. And then pair that with, the schedule that they have to start the season. In their first 8 games, they play Arsenal, Aston Villa, Manchester City, Liverpool, and Newcastle. I mean, they have a phenomenal chance to go into October without even recording a win. Like, they really do. And when you see like those type of things happen in the past, teams usually struggle to recover from that once the season starts so poorly like that, because then you're in panic mode. You're panicking in the transfer market. You could have a manager fired. It could just spiral out of control quickly for them. And I think that their departures are awful. Max Kilman was their captain. He's gone. Pedro Neto just went to Chelsea. I'm seeing rumors that more guys could be departing soon too. I think they're not really doing great financially. Yeah, I think with the way that they finished last season, how the transfer window is gone for them, plus the gauntlet that they have to face to start this year, I think that they could be on an uphill battle quickly. And at plus 340, I think that's a great value pick.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Ryan, who do you have in the relegation zone, in the drop zone?
So I have Nottingham Forest. To me, they're the third team I have. I just think they are. I don't want to say do sound really bad, but they should have really got relegated last season. Let's be real. I'm just not. They haven't really brought anyone in to excite you, to lift you up. They brought Elliot Anderson in from Newcastle, who's a center mid, but he doesn't really do much as far as contributing to goals or assists. They have a problem at keeper. They brought in Carlos Miguel from Corinthians. I don't know if he's going to start. I don't know. He doesn't have a resume, so I don't know what they're really going to do as far as a plan for the back. They're really putting all their eggs in Gibbs White. And as much as I love the player, and I think he's a great young talent, I don't think he's going to be able to keep this Nottingham Forest team up. I really don't. I think they're going to struggle. And for that reason, I got him at a nice minus 200.
Good stuff. Give me, Ryan, your golden boot winner. This is your final futures pick. But
yes,
give me your golden boot winner.
And the guys know this. This is something I struggled with immensely because I kind of almost in my head just simulated the season about 1,000 times, and I would say 1,000 times I got Holland winning it, but I'm not laying that juice. So I took Salah, and I took Salah plus 1,000, and he's just Mr. Consistent. No matter what's going on, what's happening, he's always playing. He's always fit. He scored over 20 goals in every season he's played except for one. So, I'm kind of throwing a Hail Mary with this one, but give me Mr. Consistent Mohamed Salah at plus 1,000.
This is one of those, look, let's go big or go home, right? Because the obvious pick is Erling Haaland, but there's not really any value in the pick as far as I can tell. But this is, it's not that it's a value pick, but it's a, here again, I think just kind of a go big or go home kind of pick.
I also think it's, not a great thing to do to lay juice on an individual performance, because not only are you banking on him being at the pinnacle and being at the top, but you're also banking on his health. Like, you could, have lay the juice and have this bet on Haaland, and then in a month he goes down with a knee, and then your bet's gone, and you've laid the juice. So I think that's a really risky thing to do. And I think that's also why the books have that number where it is, because you can look at it and say, that's not that bad. It's not that juiced. But I think that they have that in the back of their head that they're, maybe trying to bait some people into taking that Haaland bet, with considering the injury, the risk of injury or just not performing at the top level. So I think there's risk that comes with that. My pick to win the Golden Boot is Alexander Isak at plus 1,500. And like, Ryan and I stated, I think this is a huge bounce back here for Newcastle. I think there's going to be a ton of goals in this team. And even with the struggles that they had a little bit last year, he still recorded 21 league goals. And I think he's going to be the main penalty taker. That's huge when you're betting a Golden Boot bet. We saw Cole Palmer shoot up the goal charts last year just strictly from penalties. So you definitely want that on your side when betting a Golden Boot. And also that, like we mentioned on earlier, they're not going to have to play Champions League football. He's going to be able to play a ton of minutes in the league. There's going to be a ton of chances for him to score. And I think this is a great value at plus 1,500.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take that bet too. So put that on my card. You get Isak. You talked me into it.
So those are the futures picks, and we've got one group pick that we're making, and I don't agree with it, but they held me down. They poured hot mercury down my throat. It's a wonder that I'm actually still alive with the abuse that they put me through to actually agree to do this. But we have a group bet, and we are all Arsenal supporters here on this show, and we have a group bet that Arsenal will win a trophy, be it the Premier, be it the EPL, be it the UCL, be it the FA Cup or the League Cup. But Arsenal will win a trophy at minus 135. It is a group bet with the three of us. Dr. Sniper, would you like to add anything to that?
It's time, baby. It's time. We won a trophy in Arteta's first season. Arsenal are, primed to, challenge in every competition this year, I feel. So I think it's a good bet at good value. And, there's 4 opportunities to lift one of them. So I like it.
Yeah. Ryan? Anything to add?
No, I feel like you said everything he had to say.
And plus, all of the chat can just give us a hard time when we lose this, inevitably, and we'll be
crying. No.
I'm not taking part of that.
The chat's gonna love it. They're gonna.
No, they're not. They're gonna be crying in their Cheerios, man. Because this is one we're getting. This is one we're getting. Yeah, I think this has been a very successful first run here, fellas. What do you think?
Yeah, and actually I compiled the picks from the chat, and so we have our chat pick of the week.
Oh no.
I threw these in a random wheel generator, and it actually landed on the pick that was put in the chat twice. So the wheel did a good job. It is Manchester United minus 170, and that pick was submitted by Stuart Kiddamore and Max Babcock. So the chat pick is Manchester United minus 170. And once again, for those who joined late, we're going to be doing a points table with the Bearded Gooner, Ryan, and myself, and then the chat. And it's going to be based on the picks of the week. And you get 3 points for a win, 1 point for a push, 0 for a loss. And we're going to keep a point standings throughout the year. And the winner gets a kit paid for by the losers. Obviously, if the chat loses, you're not going to have to pitch in. But if the chat somehow beats the 3 of us, we're going to pitch in and buy one random chat member a kit from this season. So it's a fun way to stay involved. Please continue to put picks in the chat every episode, just so you can have, more chances to have your input for it being the chat pick of the week. And like I said, it's Manchester United minus 170. It starts tomorrow. So get ready for that.
Yeah. Outside of that, Ryan, a final word here on anything?
No, I think it was a very successful show. Hopefully all of our picks hit, because that's what's going to happen. We all know that. And I'm excited to kind of get some stats, because I know it was a little tough the first week, because you really don't have that stats for this season. Kind of have to pull from last season and kind of use not necessarily your gut, but just use like, okay, this team's not prepared. That they have a new manager, they have new players, kind of thing. And yeah, I'm excited to keep rolling with this, and I'm ready for next week already. I think I'm already looking. I don't see any good picks.
Yeah. Jackson, anything to add at the very end here?
No, yeah, Ryan, said what I was going to bring up. It's going to be great when we can get our hands on some analytical data, because that's how I like to take my approach when gambling on sports. I like to let the data do most of my talking. So there's some fun stats out there that can, kind of help you predict trends of teams and if they're going to be on the, rapid decline or if they're going to start improving. So that'll be chances for you to take advantage in the market. And like I said, once we get our hands on some data and apply those to our picks, hopefully we can, make you guys some money along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Here. My job as host of this show is to recognize all of you for tuning in and watching. Daniel Mahoney, John David Shepper. I think I said that right. Gabriel Carlson, Max Babcock. I don't think I missed anyone. I think that's pretty much it in terms of who was in the chat interacting with us today. Yeah, thank you guys all for watching. We really appreciate it. If you're watching on Twitter/X, thank you very much for that as well. Please interact with the socials. If you've got a pick and you just want us to retweet it for you, if you want to interact that way, we're more than happy to do that. But make sure you're following all of us on the social media platforms that we've already mentioned. Make sure you go to @EPLPitchPicks on Twitter/X. Follow us there. As always, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click the bell icon. You'll never miss an episode. Drop a thumbs up on the video. We would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, the bottom line is here. The new season of the EPL kicks off tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific, 8 p.m. GMT. I'm going to throw the picks up on the screen one last time for everybody. But that's going to do it for us, folks. We don't have an outro right now. We can't afford it. So like I say, make sure you're dropping those subscriptions.
Like and subscribe. It'll help us afford it.
Yeah, make sure you drop that subscription. It'll help YouTube get us some money. We can keep the power on around here. So lastly, put the picks up on the screen, but that's it for us. We're out of here, guys. Thanks for tuning in. It has been good footy talk as always. We'll see you out there.